Welcome to the Swisher Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you go on Instagram and follow me at swisherent. Make sure you also go on YouTube and hit that subscribe button so you get a notification when the new videos is coming out. Make sure you also hit the subscribe button and the follow button on any of the streaming platforms, which is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud, so you get a notification when the next podcast is coming out. Thank you so much for listening once again.
Welcome back to Swisher Podcast, another episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I just want to start this podcast with the hustle of the day, something new I'm trying to do. Add a couple of segments to the podcast. So first of all, before we get to the hustler of the day, I just want to say, make sure you guys go on Apple Podcasts, hit the subscribe button if you listen to Apple Podcasts, so you get a notification when this podcast comes out, a new episode comes out. You know, you get a notification on top of your phone, kind of like when you get a text message, and you can just swipe and go right to the episode. If you're listening on Spotify, SoundCloud, make sure you hit that follow button, and also follow me on YouTube at Swisher Podcast. But back to the hustle of the day, man. It's just this chick on Instagram. She came up by just twerking, you know what I'm saying? And her videos went viral. Now she teaches classes to females on how to twerk. And she just taught a class in Miami. And it had 1,200 females paid $60 each to learn how to twerk. Now, just to put that in perspective, that's $72,000. $72,000 just to teach these females how to twerk. Now, I just want you to let that sit in for a minute. I don't know how long the class is. Class is probably like an hour and a half most. But in an hour and a half, she made $72,000 off of teaching these females how to twerk. You know what I'm saying? If I still had my soundboard, I have my round of applause, because that is the hustler of the day, man. That is just crazy to be able to make that amount of money that fast just off of teaching the class. You know, I've heard of people doing motivational speaking and making, you know, Gary Vee probably does like $100,000 each time he does a motivational speech at a college or wherever. But to make that much money off of just teaching females how to twerk is that is a hustle. That's a hustle right there. I just want to shout out to her, because, you know, it's just insane. You guys probably seen it. Just go on Instagram. You can probably find it. I'm not sure her Instagram name. I don't have it pulled up right now, but you guys will probably be able to. You probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you probably be able to see it very soon. I just find it very interesting how people can use the internet to get such a big fan base and be able to hold classes or hold events to make that type of money. You know, with the internet, it's possible to make so much money nowadays. I just find it very entertaining, and it's just great to be able to do that if you know how to use the platform right. And you know, shout out to her. That's just it's pretty crazy. But once again, it's Swisher Podcast. That was the hustler of the day. You know what I'm saying? The twerk queen. But shout out to her for making all that money, man. Once again, we back, another episode coming to you daily. Make sure you guys go back and listen to the old episodes if you haven't heard those episodes. Those episodes are all good. All the episodes this year have been spectacular. You know, I try to get on here and do my best to bring the best content, stay entertaining, to do what I do for you guys. And I appreciate you all, new, old, for listening. You know, if you are new, thank you for giving this podcast a chance. If you are a new podcast listener, thank you for giving this podcast a chance. I wouldn't have appreciated any more you taking your time out to get this podcast a listen. And I just appreciate that. I couldn't ask for anything more. Like I said, you know, there's so many other podcasts. And, you know, the podcast is somewhat new. You know, this podcast I've been doing for a while now. And at this point, it just feels like a part of my day, part of the life. You know, just getting up here, producing a 20-minute show, and doing it every day for you guys and building that fan base. So if you want to help me, just listen to the podcast, hit the like button, and I guess share with your coworker, your classmate, wherever, you know what I'm saying, you're working. If you're at school, you're at work, if you're just listening and you're at the gym, you know what I'm saying, whatever you're doing, hustle hard, you know what I'm saying. Hard work does not go unnoticed. But once again, yeah, thank you to all the new listeners, and shout out to all the old listeners, definitely to the people that's been listening since day one. I mean, day one. I'm talking about first podcast when I was talking about Kevin Hart and Tom Brady and different stuff like that. For those of you who know it, shout out to the mid listeners that's been listening when it was me and Boss Jessa up here every Sunday, rapping, making beats, all that different type of stuff. And shout out to the new listeners just tuning in when it's just been me. Now I couldn't ask for any more, and definitely want to build this brand bigger to be an entity within the culture, within people, which on to make some noise on YouTube and some noise around Instagram with the podcast. But yeah, man, Kobe Bryant had his funeral service today, which is the 24th. Day is the Monday, the 24th, February 24th, and a lot of people was there. They had a lot of people talking, the normal like Shaq, Kobe. They probably had some other, not Shaq. Not Kobe. Had Shaq, Michael Jordan was what I meant to say. Excuse me. Shaq, Michael Jordan, some other people speaking, and Shaq had a really good speech, and so did Michael Jordan. He started crying, and they said, he was like, I hope that'll make another meme. I have to watch another meme for the next 3 to 4 years, because the Michael Jordan meme. But rest in peace to Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi. Kobe Bryant's such a legend within the game. Like I said the last podcast or a few podcasts back, you think of basketball and you think of different sports. You think of certain people when it comes to sports. You think of skateboard. You think of Tony Hawk. Football. You think of people like Tom Brady. Herschel Walker. Different figures like that. You think about the GOATs. You think of tennis. You think of Tiger Woods. Not tennis. Damn. You think of tennis, you think of Serena Williams, Venus Williams. You think of golf, you think of Tiger Woods. Swimming, you think of like Michael Phelps. Basketball, you have the big three. You have Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, or have a three. You want to put those in place. So to lose somebody at that magnitude is definitely very sad. It's the first time that's happened. If I can really think about it, especially in that way. Unfortunately, that had to happen like that. People always look up to these figures, especially people who are like the face of of a sport. And Kobe was definitely the face of the NBA, one of the big three. People always say, like I said, Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan. So it's definitely sad to have to come to reality what happened to Kobe. But we're just gonna pray, keep his family in prayer, keep his wife and his kids in prayer, and just gonna keep that in prayer. And I heard that she was suing the pilot for like reckless intent or reckless flying. But we have to wait to see how that unfolds. But it's always sad to lose someone that has so much impact on the sport and in the world. But once again, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. It's been 2020 has started out very rough for a lot of people. A lot of negative things, Kobe, Pop Smoke, and just a lot of negative things around the beginning of 2020. At the beginning of 2019, you guys can go back, listen to me and Boss Jet said talking about Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy was such, he had that big interview in the Breakfast Club, and he was one of the biggest rappers for like a month or two or whatnot. And it was just totally different than we starting out 2020. And let's hope that 2020 goes. It started out rough, but let's hope 2020 exceeds to be a lot better within the next few months. This year's going by definitely fast. It's already almost March. It feels like we just started 2020 in January. In January, I feel like it was just January, but now we're already heading into March. Heading into the road to 200 on Switcher Podcast. I'm on the road to 200. We're at 141. Definitely putting out as many podcasts as possible I can this year. Definitely a year of the hustle. Definitely a year of doing the most that I can possibly do when it comes to this podcast. And, you have to keep in mind, it's a podcast. It's about talking. It's about sitting down. And, I hit some people up about some interviews. Definitely when I get to the equipment, I'm going to do that. So just look out for new content in the future on Switcher Podcast. For those of you who listen to the podcast, I appreciate you so much for listening to the podcast. I couldn't ask for any more. Like I said, I'm just a random dude who wanted to do a podcast. So I had an idea, had a dream, and I've been working on it for the past 2-3 years. And it has definitely grown. It has definitely got better with progress and over time. So I appreciate everyone for giving it a shot and listening to the podcast. And yeah, man, I just want to put that out there. It's always good to put good energy out there. Let people know what you're really passionate about. Let people know what you're really trying to do with the business that you're working in. And I'm pretty sure people who's been listening to me for a while can definitely hear the passion and determination in my voice when it comes to making this podcast. And I guess the biggest part for me is just finding out what to bring to the crowd. But I guess, like I said in the last podcast, I can just be authentic as possible, and that should attract people enough. People don't want to listen to what I got to say when I'm being authentic and the most real I can be. Then this podcast just isn't for you. Podcast isn't for everybody. Certain podcasts isn't for everyone. So if you listen to this podcast and you enjoy it and you like listen to me talk, you like listen to the topics, I appreciate that, and keep tuning in and tell your friends, and maybe they'll like it too, man. But yeah, man, stepped out this weekend, man. Stepped out. I don't usually go out like that, but stepped out this weekend. Homeboy was back in Vegas. So I was like, yo, might as well step out this weekend, man. It was something else. You know what I'm saying? It was people are wild, man. People drink, people go crazy, man. It's just funny to see drunk people doing crazy things. And I'm not gonna say I didn't have fun. It was definitely a great time. But stories. I have so many stories about the club. I've been going to clubs since I was like 14. They had the teen club, was I considered a club, and all the way up to the real club. Just to see how way people move and people act. You got all different types of stereotypes. I can do a whole Instagram videos on how people act within the club and how different things people do within the club, which is it's just funny to me, man. It's just funny to see. You got the people that stand on the wall. You got the people that dance by themselves. The people that just try to dance by themselves in the circle. Then you got the people that actually try to dance with females the whole time. Then you got the people that just go in there just to drink and stay at the bar the whole time, man. It's just, I don't know. See, just to sit back and observe and just to watch people is definitely funny. They should make a reality TV show about. I guess kind of like how Jersey Shore was, but they should make a reality TV show about people and different people act within the club. You got the definitely be a funny sketch to do on like Key and Peele or something. That definitely should pitch that idea to Comedy Central. They had to pay me though, but once again, it is Swisher Podcast. Make sure you guys go subscribe. Every now and then I got to put that in there. So you guys remember to hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcast. But yeah, stepped out to the club, and my homeboy was like, yo, I need the volleyball team, man, because we was at around a school. And I was like, what is he talking about? But it didn't hit me till later. So I was like, yo, that's what he meant, because all the bitches in there was like 6 foot and over. I was like, yo, the volleyball team might be in here tonight. All these girls was like 6'4", long arms. I'm like, yo, what the? But it didn't hit me till like later, and I started laughing. I was like, yo, this nigga was talking about. He's talking about the volleyball team might be in this. I was like, yo, he was right. The volleyball team must have been in there that night. They was in there. They must have won a volleyball game. I don't even think it was volleyball season, but all them chicks was tall. It must have been the basketball team, if not the volleyball team. But it was some chicks in there like 6 foot and over. But shout out to the spot. I ain't gonna put the spot out there like that because I don't want people pulling up. But I might have to go there soon again. But yeah, it was pretty dope. But shout out to everybody who's listening to the podcast. Once again, there's not too much going on, not too many topics, so I definitely got a freestyle within this podcast. Definitely something that I worked on doing, so it's nothing for me to just keep freestyling and just talk about whatever for the podcast. Make sure you guys go on YouTube and hit that subscribe button and watch the videos. Make sure you also go on Instagram at swisherent and follow me on Instagram so you know what's going on with the podcast. You know when the podcast is coming out. You know what's up with the podcast. You already know, man. It's one thing I noticed people on Instagram, bro. People get on Instagram. People get on Instagram and I don't know, man. People talk a lot of junk on Instagram. And I don't mean like, not to me personally, but, I see, I took the time. I deleted my Facebook, so I got my Facebook back. And, I personally don't like Facebook. I was on Facebook a lot growing up, but now Facebook just ain't like it used to be. Facebook just got a lot of like, it just looks old. Like they need to update the software, update the website or something. Facebook just looks the same. It hasn't really changed that much from when it had first been created or whatnot. It just has a older looking layout on the website. But yeah, I don't really like Facebook, but Instagram, Instagram is all about the stories. People don't really post as much unless it's like something like they really want to post, but it's mostly people post on their stories. You can definitely see different types of things. And I've been following some people so long. I see some people do the same shit over and over again. And it's like I already know what they're gonna put on their story at the time of day because it's just like crazy. And I don't even be on Instagram like that. When I get on Instagram, I check a couple of stories. I might scroll down the timeline, see what's the trending topic. Because nowadays that's how you get your news. You get on Instagram. Instagram is like the new news site. You get on Instagram, you find out something before you can find it on the news, or you watching TV, you on Instagram, you can find out about a lot of things. But yeah, Instagram is I feel like Instagram is even losing its clout to TikTok. TikTok, I have a TikTok. I don't get on as much as Instagram, but TikTok is definitely taking over. TikTok is more like dancing and doing different skits. Instagram is more for like news and stuff that's happening and just pictures in general. But yeah, man, Instagram's starting to lose its clout, and Snapchat is already losing their clout. But it'll be interesting to see the new application within the next 5 to 10 years. Who's gonna, what type of applications are gonna be around? I guess TikTok is one of the new ones, but if TikTok is one of the new ones, what other ones are going to be? And TikTok is it's new. Wait till you're able to go live on TikTok. Will that be a thing? Will you be able to go live on TikTok like you can go live on Facebook and Instagram? I said Snapchat would still be able to be in the league and be able in the running with these apps if they had a live button. You can go live, just like you can see people's stories. You can have a live story or go live on Snapchat, which I don't know why they haven't done that. I believe that would have definitely kept Snapchat and running. You gotta kind of keep up with the times. Facebook, you got live. Instagram, you got live. So Snapchat live, that just sounds lit. Snapchat live, I'm on Snapchat live. So Snapchat, if you're listening, or anybody working for Snapchat, maybe you suggest a Snapchat live. I'm pretty sure they definitely have thought about it, but I don't know why you can't do that. You can call people, but if you can have a live feed, stream a live feed from Snapchat, people would have been for that. And it may be too late now. People already deleted Snapchat, don't really be on the app like that. But in the midst of its peak, when everybody was doing live, they would have hit that live switch on Snapchat. People would have definitely liked that. And Snapchat, it's been out for a while. I remember back in 2010 when I was a freshman in high school, 2010, 2011, Snapchat was a big deal. And they had a lot of things on there that get you in trouble. If anybody listening right now, they know that back in the day, Snapchat, you'd be able to see somebody else's top 3. You'd be able to see somebody else's top 3 friends. So you'd be able to see who one of your friends was snapping. Who's in their top 3? Who's their top 3? So you always want to have the chicks. Who you got in your top 3? Who's in your top 3 friends on Snapchat? That's the people you talking to the most. So if anybody listening right now, they know about their top 3. So you ain't had it like niggas check your top 3, and you didn't want to have a bunch of dudes in your top 3 or whatnot. If you was a dude, obviously you want to have them chicks. So definitely that made it interesting. That made Snapchat fun. They need to bring stuff like that back. So what I'm saying, people can see who talking to. I remember I had I was on Snapchat, I was talking to this joint, and at least she just broke up with a boyfriend. So like I changed my Snapchat name to like her new man. So when people look at the Snapchat and was able to see the top 3, they'd see me in the top 3 and it'd be like her new man. No, I was crazy, bro. But shit like that definitely keeps the app alive and keeps the app interesting, and people definitely want to get on the app, and it keeps kind of like a drama almost. You know what I'm saying? For people, in order for people to really stay tuned, they want to. It's almost like a reality TV show. You got to have some type of that type of energy. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to. I believe that's Instagram. Instagram, they made Instagram so you can see likes, but you can see who likes. You can see who likes what. You can see people's pictures come up within likes and be like, these 3 people like this picture. It keeps people looking, keeps people lurking, keeps people's mind like being like, okay, let me see. You can see Instagram live, you can see who's on the live. You're able to see things that you're able to see certain things. So I believe that's what keeps Instagram around right now. Facebook, you can see who like blah blah people comment. So Snapchat has no type of way you can see who's talking to or who's interacting with who. There's no type of interaction. There's no type of see who's snapping who or who's watching whose story. You can see who's watching your story, but if I wanted to look and see who saw or who's watching another person's story, you're not able to do that. That's just I believe within the social media platforms nowadays, you got to be able to have a platform that's free where you can just swipe up and just go through stuff, and you got to be able to see. People are nosy. Everybody's nosy. You got to be able to see who's talking to who and who's doing what. But that's just my analysis of social medias. That's just what we have to talk about today, because it's not too much to talk about. It's not too many topics. Switch your gang, switch your fam, switch your clan. I haven't picked one yet. definitely going to have one of those to be the name of the group of the people that's listening to the podcast. But if you are listening to the podcast, make sure you go on Instagram and follow me at swisherent. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, on YouTube at Swisher Podcast, and hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts at Swisher Podcast. Once again, and make sure you have any type of content you want to get on the podcast, DM it to me at swisherent on Instagram, or you can email it to me at swisherentertainment95@gmail.com. Once again, that is swisherentertainment95@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Like I said, I got some interviews coming in the future. Definitely talk to some people on Instagram, some big people. We got this one dude who went viral on WorldStar for making video edits. Over 1 million views on WorldStar, definitely doing his thing. Definitely going to try to get him on the podcast very soon. He's in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, guys, stay tuned if you want to hear that. I'm not going to let you know who it is just yet because I have still got to work some things out. But definitely looking for do that within the future. But once again, this is Swisher Podcast. I appreciate you guys for listening, and I'm out.